Welcome to the Muxall Open IoT channel. I am your host, Michael Crane. Okay, so in this video, we're going to be checking out the new fan speed control for the Muxall Pro BBQ Controller. I was writing the user's manual as I was thinking about doing this video and what to explain and how to use it. The fan speed control is on the control tab right here in the web app. You cannot change it using the front button panel at this time anyway. We'll look at the manual here. So variable fan speeds will be used for cooking at low temperatures, and these settings can be changed on the fly. So low temperatures are anything under 200 degrees Fahrenheit, that is. Okay, and right now you can see I have it set at 180, and the fan speed is running at 80%. Outside temperature is 97 degrees, and this is in automatic mode. And maybe I should start there. So let me introduce the fan speed. So the fan speed has two modes. It has the auto mode, which is the default. This allows the controller to automatically change the fan speed if you're cooking under 200 degrees. And this is the default, okay? And then you also have these manual settings. By the way, and here's the status of it. It's on the control tab under cooking state. All right, and so you can see the fan speed percentage is at 80%. Let's say we want to override this. So that's an automatic mode. So we can say, okay, we don't want 80%. We want 40. We want it to run at 40%. You can just enter that, or set that, hit enter save, and it changes the fan speed to 40%, right? And then it'll just sit there. So anytime it needs to use a lower fan speed, it will run it at 40%. This is like a manual override type thing. And that's kind of what I'm talking about right here in the manual. It says 10 to 100% manual settings. The controller will use this setting when cooking below 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? And we already talked about the status. Yeah, I know a lot of people asked to have the fan speed settings next to each profile. Thought about that and I looked at this, but this fan speed control requires quite a bit of changing behind the curtain, if you will. When you start slowing this fan speed down, a few things need to happen. And we'll go over the config tab and I'll show you real quick. When you slow the fan speed down, one thing, your fuel on minimum needs to change. Now you're not going to see it change on the config tab. This is all done behind the curtain. What else changes? Oh, it also changes how Patsy runs. So right now it's in the default mode, which most people are in. When you're running with a low fan speed, you actually are, Patsy's actually running more like Aussie mode. To help the user not have to figure out what all the settings need to be to run these different modes, I came up with the auto mode. In auto mode, basically, so if you're running a profile and say profile 1 is at 350, and profile 2 is at 180, and profile 3 is at 300 or what have you. So this when you're running at 350, you're going to want like 100. The fan will run at 100% because you need as much air as possible to generate the heat. But we drop down to 180, not so much, right? So in auto mode, well, in any mode actually, auto or manual, when the chamber temp gets closer to 180 degrees, it's going to start reducing the fan speed. If you have it set on manual override like it is now, it will just set it at 40% and forget it. If you have it on auto will start adjusting down. It'll drop it to 80 to 60, and as the grill starts cooling off, and depending on how low the cooking temperature is, it will adjust the fan speed accordingly. It won't go below 20% in automatic mode. The only way to get it below 20% is to use the 10% manual setting. And I actually have a warning about using 10% manual setting in the manual, because my testing showed 10% fan isn't enough to keep the fire lit. Okay, so let's see, where are we? I changed a bunch of stuff. Let me refresh this real quick. I just didn't want to change all this. I'm a bit lazy sometimes. Okay, so it's running at fixed 40%. Okay, let's see. I don't think we should still have our graph. Ah, very good. All right, and we're getting it. It was funny as it was running along pretty good. Then all of a sudden we started getting a bit some swinging, and I think it's kind of windy outside. Yeah, it says 10 miles per hour. Let's see. Yeah, it's a bit windy out there. I think that's what's causing the these swings right here, is the wind. I mean, the barbecue is not that hot to begin with, and then you start blowing air on it, and it really cools it off, and kind of gets some of these swings. Now, one thing I want to let you guys know is behind the curtain, when you set this to 40%, behind the curtains, I'm changing some other stuff. This isn't just a straight 40% run fan, because Patsy will just go crazy if it's on its default settings and you set the slow this fan speed to 40%. So behind the scenes, behind the curtain, there's other things going on. That's why it took me so long to get this feature out. I mean, changing the fan speed, you saw I did in one day, but getting all the Patsy stuff to work properly, that's, especially we got Patsy, then we have the different modes right here. So and these are Patsy modes right here. So I had to make sure that these Patsy modes are going to behave or work properly. When you're using this thing, whether in manual or automatic, you don't need to change any of these Patsy settings right here. I do it for you behind the curtain. So yeah, if you want to run the 100% fan, let's say the variable speed's just not working for you, you can just come here, click 100%, enter save, kick the fan speed up to 100%. Let's see, what else is there? Okay, so back to the manual. One of the things I also mentioned is to enable flame out detection. I have been using flame out detection throughout this whole testing. So with my two grills, I didn't have any problems with flame out after I got Patsy happy. But I would still suggest, if it's 95 degrees outside and you're cooking at 180 or below, I would definitely use flame out detection, because it is not dumping a whole lot of fuel in there to keep that thing lit. So even with the slow fan. so anyway, yeah, look at we're having a bit of a wow. Look at that duty cycle. Oh, it's in maximum smoke. That's why the duty cycle is so high. Oh, that brings up another thing. I think it's in here somewhere. So you don't need, I'm reading this right here, by the way. It says you don't need to change the smoke control setting, this guy right here, when using multiple profiles with high and low temps, right? When the fan speed is less than 100%, auto fixed percent settings and smoke control setting is disabled, and precision cook is automatically used. The smoke control setting is used when the fan speed goes back up to 100% with higher temps. When the fan is set at 100%, it's going to run the smoke control to whatever you have it set at. So if you have it set at maximum smoke and it's at 180, as long as there's a 100% fan, it's going to use the smoke control setting right here, whatever you have set. It's only when the fan speed drops below 100%, the smoke control, it doesn't change the smoke control setting, it just ignores it and uses precision cook. Because when you're cooking, 170, 180, and I mean, it dumps so much smoke as it is, you don't need swinging. Believe me, there's plenty of smoke. But anyway, I think that's about it. So when you update your controller, you won't have to change any of this, okay? And the default will be to run the fan in auto mode right here, okay? So when you update it, you don't have to do anything. Yeah, I did remember something else that I wanted to mention, and that's actually in the manual control. I made a note in the manual somewhere. So manual fan override will run the fan at 100% if the fan speed is set on auto. Okay, otherwise the manual fan override will run the fan at the selected speed. So what I'm talking about there is, so to run the manual fan override, because basically the fan runs all the time. You can't turn it off when it's cooking. But if the grill is off, right, not powered off, but if the barbecue state is in the off state and you turn on the fan override, if it's set on auto, this manual fan override will run the fan at 100%. If you have it set on 10 to 80% here, this manual fan override will run the fan at whatever you have it set at. So if you have it set at 10, click this, hit submit, then you'll get 10% fan. And you can use that for cold smoking or whatever, but this only works when the grill is off, this manual fan override. This works all the time, okay? I hope that makes sense. And after the update, you don't have to change anything in your config. That should all remain the same. And you don't have to do anything, right? It'll default to auto, right? That's another thing. Make sure to test this before you put any meat on. That's it. If you have any questions or comments, leave them in the comments below. And I will see you guys later. Don't forget, you can support the Muxall Open IoT channel by donation using a credit card and PayPal, or by purchasing products at the Muxall store. Details and links are in the description under this video. Well, that's it for this video. If you liked the video, give it a big thumbs up, that helps, and hit the subscribe button, that really helps. If you have any questions or comments, post them in the comments under this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.